Is $1 million really enough to retire in today's America? For decades, $1 million has been treated as the gold standard of retirement success in the United States. It represented stability, independence, and peace of mind. But in 2026, with rising healthcare costs, persistent inflation, higher housing prices, and longer life expectancy, that number may not stretch as far as it once did. So, the real question is not simply how much you have, but how long it needs to last. Welcome to Artha Briefing from Artha Journal. Clear analysis on money, markets, and the economy. First, consider retirees living a more frugal lifestyle, especially those combining investment income with Social Security benefits. The traditional 4% rule suggests a $1 million portfolio could generate around $40,000 annually. But newer research warns that inflation and what analysts call sequence of returns risk may require more conservative withdrawal strategies. Average Social Security benefits provide an important foundation, though actual take-home income varies after Medicare premiums and taxes. When Social Security is combined with disciplined withdrawals, many households could generate somewhere between $60,000 and $75,000 per year. For retirees who own their home outright, live in lower-cost regions, and maintain modest spending habits, that income level may be enough to cover essential expenses. Still, reaching this point is becoming more difficult. Many workers never reach traditional savings benchmarks, which is why financial firms are encouraging higher contribution rates throughout a person's career. Put simply, in a frugal retirement, $1 million can still work, but expectations need to remain realistic and withdrawals must stay disciplined. Now, let's shift to a more typical middle-class retirement. Here, the margin becomes much thinner. A comfortable lifestyle often includes travel, dining, and rising healthcare costs. Financial planning guidance suggests retirees may need to replace roughly 70 to 80% of their pre-retirement income. For many households, that implies annual spending closer to $80,000 or even $100,000. Under those conditions, a $1 million portfolio may struggle to keep up unless Social Security benefits are optimized, investment returns remain steady, and spending adjusts during market downturns. In other words, success depends not just on how much you saved, but on flexibility. The bottom line here is simple. A middle-class retirement with $1 million may be possible, but there's far less room for unexpected financial shocks. But the picture changes dramatically in high-cost metropolitan areas like New York City, San Francisco, or Boston. In these regions, annual expenses can easily exceed $100,000, especially for retirees without a fully paid-off home. Higher spending increases pressure on a portfolio and raises the risk of running out of money during periods of market volatility or persistent inflation. In practical terms, a $1 million nest egg alone is often not enough to sustain a long retirement in expensive cities without additional income sources. What can derail even strong plans? Even well-structured retirement strategies face a few major risks. Healthcare remains one of the biggest unknowns. Estimates suggest a couple retiring at age 65 may need hundreds of thousands of dollars to cover medical expenses throughout retirement. Longevity is another factor. Living into one's late 80s or 90s is increasingly common, which means portfolios must last longer than many people expect. And finally, market volatility plays a major role. Early downturns, especially at the start of retirement, can permanently damage a portfolio if withdrawals remain high. The bigger picture, across the financial industry, research is moving away from the idea of a single magic number. The real challenge isn't just building savings, it's turning those savings into reliable, long-term income. Benchmarks and savings targets can provide guidance, but ultimately, success depends on income strategy, asset allocation, and realistic expectations. Final takeaway. A $1 million portfolio can be enough to retire in America, only under the right conditions. Lifestyle matters, location matters, health and longevity matter just as much as the size of your savings. Thank you for listening to this episode of Artha Briefing. If you value thoughtful, measured discussions on money, business, and the economy, consider subscribing for future briefings. Until next time, stay informed and financially aware.